Alright, y'all, sorry if this tutorial is fast since there's written instructions. I didn't find the need to do a video, but I know I'm getting requests, so I'll do one right now. So first thing I tell you is to create a new file, and I want you to do the standard size, but the most important thing is to change the frame rate to 12 frames per second, and then you're going to hit create. I do provide a reference for you guys on the Schoology assignment, so feel free to copy and paste it in the reference layer that we're about to make. But you can also go ahead and find your own if it's not one that you would like to follow. Alright, so first step is to rename our first layer to reference, or REF. Okay, and with the brush tool or the shape tool, you want to create a pendulum in the middle here. Since I do not have a drawing tablet, I'm going to be using shape tools. So I'm going to grab the line first to make that pendulum string, and I'm going to increase this stroke size in my properties panel to about 5. Okay, so somewhere along the middle here, I'm going to click and hold down shift so that it makes a straight line. And I'm going to come to my tools panel and then grab the oval tool. Since this is just our reference layer, I'm going to do no fill for now so that I don't get confused when I'm actually animating. And I'm going to create the circle somewhere off here. Something like that's fine. I'm going to grab my selection tool now, box select the circle, and then place it underneath the line here. I like to do that so that I don't accidentally grab a piece of the line that I've made when I'm trying to make adjustments to the circle. Alright, so we have the passing pose here, if you will. We're going to create, actually we'll leave that here. I'm going to skip the arc layer for now, and I'm just going to go straight into making the rest of the key poses. So you're going to need your free transform tool for this one. You want to box select both of these, and you want to either hit edit copy or control command C, control C to copy, and then you want to do edit paste in place or command shift V. I'm using a PC, so you're going to see control instead of command. It looks like nothing happened, but that's because again the copy was put literally right on top of our original drawing. So I want you to move this origin point here, this little circle, all the way up to the top, because I want this to rotate from up here, not from the center. So once you've moved that, you want to hover over to one of the corners until you see this little symbol that you're looking at here. So my cursor turns into a little tiny cursor with a circular little arrow. So click, hold, and then drag this to the far left like this. Awesome. So that's our first key pose here. Now I want to select these two. If you hold down shift while you click on items, it just adds to your selection. You can do command C or control C to copy, but we can also just do edit paste in place because we still have the original copy that we made. I'm going to drag this origin point up to the top, and I'm going to rotate this to the right now. And this would be our last key pose here. So again, pose to pose terminology, you need your first key pose, your last key pose, and this would be our breakdown pose, or the in-between here. Or I'm sorry, the passing. Okay, let's go ahead and do edit paste in place again. Grab this origin point and move it up here, and you want to add the copy that goes in between both of these. So edit, paste in place, grab this, move it up here, and then that one would be in between here. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. If it's not perfectly mirrored, don't worry about it. But we have all of our reference images done here. And like I mentioned, in Schoology we have the pendulum reference image that you can copy paste. Or you can, again, Google it. I'm trying to copy it over really quickly. And all you have to do is right click, copy on the image, and then you can do Command V to paste it. And you want it somewhere off of your stage. So I really like this image because it tells me what frame I'm going to put what pose in. It also has a timing chart here. But all right, let's go ahead and click on this keyframe here. You have to make sure it's selected over here and that nothing was selected up here. But you want to go to color effects in your properties panel. You want to turn on alpha, and you want to take the transparency down up to your liking. So mine's like at 25%. Okay, I'm going to extend this to the 10-second mark for now. So you want to click on frame 10 and then just hit F5 on your keyboard, or you can do right click, insert frame. This just extends this drawing to be there for 10 frames. Okay, we're going to lock this layer because we're not going to use it anymore. And we're going to create a new layer and call this Pendulum. So this is where the actual animation is going to happen. Okay, make sure you are in frame 1. We're going to use this as our guide. And once again, I'm actually going to use the line tool here. I'm going to create a line over here. Grab my circle tool over here. This time I'm going to do a fill color so that I know this is the actual animation layer. And I'm so sorry if you hear my dog crying in the back. He wants treats and I won't give him any. Alright, so that looks good. Now I'm going to move it over into place. And so we have our first key pose done. The next thing you want to do is, according to our reference here, our last key pose is in frame 9, so I'm actually going to do 10 because I don't like odd numbers. It usually doesn't matter, but for this, I want it to be even. I'm going to go to frame 10 and I'm going to hit F6. And what F6 does is it drops a keyframe, so you know because it has a circle in the middle. But I can still come over here, move my origin point, and then just rotate this already made drawing over to the left-hand side. I'm sorry, right-hand side. So now we have our first and last key pose. Our middle one is in frame 5, so I'm going to click on frame 5 and then hit F6, or again, right-click, insert keyframe does the same thing. And, oops, grab this origin point, move it to the top, and then rotate this to the middle. So we have our first key pose, our breakdown pose here, and then our last key pose. Okay, to add slow in, which is all these frames right here, I lied, I'm jumping ahead. We have to go ahead and add these poses right here. So that's these. I'm going to go over to frame 4. I'm going to do F6 to drop a keyframe. I'm going to move this over to the top over here. And then I'm going to do my first passing pose here. The next one is in frame 6, so I'm going to go to frame 6, hit F6, move that origin point, and then rotate it over here. Cool. So if we play this back, it should look something like this. Still a little rough, but we're about to add all of the in-betweens right here. Okay, so now I'm going to do these first. I'm going to go over to frame 2, hit F6. I'm going to grab this origin point, and I'm going to turn on onion skin really quick. So as you can see, these are stacked on top of each other, so I'm going to just grab and rotate slightly to the right for frame 2. Then I'm going to come to frame 3, hit F6, and then once again just slightly move this a little bit further out. So it kind of speeds up here. Right, again, you do not have to do this exactly like this is here, but it's good references for keyframes. Right, so the first half is done, and in between now we have to actually work backwards when we're coming from the right over here. So I'm going to go to frame 9. I'm going to hit F6 to insert a keyframe. Grab this origin point and move it up to the top again. And again, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Just slightly move it above over here. Now I'm going to go to frame 8, hit F6, grab this origin point, and stack it like that. Because I didn't do the 9 here, I do have an extra frame, but that's no biggie. I'm going to hit F6. And then once again, slightly move this forward. Or I'm sorry, to the right. I'm going to turn off onion skin really quick just so I can see how the animation's playing out. And that looks like we have slow in and slow out. Alright, so I just don't know why it's doing like a little highlighted moment here. Like I don't want it highlighted there when I play it back. Play it back one more time. Awesome, yeah. So that looks really good. Now we have to make it swing back the other way. So I'm going to come over to frame 20 really quick on my reference layer and then hit F5 just to extend these drawings. And this is the part where it might get a little confusing, so bear with me. You can turn off onion skin or leave it on if you want. I'm going to turn it off because I might get confused. The easiest way to do this is I'm going to come to frame 9. I'm going to hit right click, copy frames. Then I'm going to jump to frame 11, hit right click, and then paste frames. You could manually do this, like manually draw them coming back, but I already made the frames, so I do double the work. Now I turned on onion skin so I can see myself working backwards. So that was frame 9, so now I'm going to go to frame 8, right click, copy frames, jump over to frame 12, right click, paste frames, come to frame 7, right click, copy frame, come to frame 13, right click, paste frames. Come to frame 6, right click, copy frames, frame 14, right click, paste frame. It's really important that you know which frame you left off in so that you don't get confused. So right click on frame 5, copy frames, and I'm going to paste this one in 15, right click, paste frame. And now I'm on frame 4, right click, copy frames, come to frame 16, paste it. Frame 3, or keyframe 3, right click, copy frame, frame 17, right click, paste. And then finally the last one, you want to do frame 2, right click, copy frame, frame 18, right click, paste. So I'm going to turn off onion skin now, and hopefully I did not mess up any timing, and then play that back. Now the reason why we don't want to do the first keyframe is because we're going to export it as an animated GIF, and so it's going to loop automatically. That if I were to put the same drawing in frame 1 back here, it would do a little stutter and mess up the timing for a looping animation. If it didn't loop, for sure you'd want to copy this one over here. So I'm actually going to highlight these 2 frames here from the reference layer and then do right click, remove frames. Remember don't just select frames and then hit the delete key on your keyboard, because that doesn't actually remove them, it just messes up some of the timing. But you should have something like this. If you wanted to add a background, feel free to create a new layer and then change the background with a shape tool, like a square in the back. You could also add the follow through and overlapping or drag if you wanted to add a little bit more realism, I guess. So since this one's moving forward, you'd move this one slightly forward too. But again, this part is optional. I have my selection tool here, and if you just hover over the edge, you see that little curve tool appear. And I'm going to turn onion skin to see how that's looking. It should straighten out as it gets to the center here. But again, that part, if you have time, it looks great when you add it. Like you can see it in the very beginning. But again, that's optional. I'm gonna do, oops, we never did an initial file save as. So file save as, I ask that you name this your last name, first name, initial, and then Pendulum. You're going to keep the FLA extension, hit save, and then once you have your FLA file, you're going to do file. Ooh, my bad. Let's actually, I don't want the reference in the back to show up, so we have to do right click on the reference and then turn it into a guide. So now I can save. So file, export, export animated GIF, hit save, and then save again. And the GIF file is what I want, but if the timing is off, go ahead and upload your FLA file as well, so I can look at where timing might have been off. But okay, let me know if you guys need any help.